According to our latest Lexington research and benchmarking with business development across law firms globally, there's a mismatch at the moment where partners are saying they don't get the business development that they need, and where the business development is saying they don't get the partners they need. So what is the problem here, Katie?
I think the problem is a misunderstanding between who is leading and who is following and who is advising and who is facilitating, and actually a fundamental mismatch of understanding with what the role of business development is in law firms. The people who do business development, who do it, are the partners. They are the ones going out, talking to clients, because the clients buy from them, they buy the people they see. The people facilitating that process, the people with the clever ideas, I used to work doing BD in law firms, so I'm going to say this, aren't I? The creative, clever ones are the BD people in the law firms. But they facilitate the process, they guide, they help, they mentor the partners. They are not there to be told what to do. They are there to help the partners to do it. And the firms, the groups within the firms that are successful at doing this, do it in partnership with a small p.
I think it's interesting because sometimes it's as basic, and I'm sure you've seen it as well. People go to some BD or marketing or even communications, people go to an interview and there is a job description. And then it's interesting once you get into the job that generally the job description doesn't match very much with the real job in itself. So there is a mismatch on the expectation from partners that might actually require something different to what the professionals expect to provide, which is a pity because we do see great professionals in law firms that are not necessarily used in the best way possible. Sometimes you think, is it about, putting the resources in the wrong place? And then how can law firms focus more on the strengths and knowledge of their own people to make sure they use it in the best capacity? But if there is not a clear guideline, strategic guideline on where are we going to put our resources into, then each partner will have a list of things that they want to delegate. And we go back to what we've discussed before on the accountability side. So what are you responsible of? And that's your leadership question. So anything to do with BD or marketing, I just pass it on. Maybe not.
Not right. And I think there's also this misunderstanding. This is a vast generalisation. So any lawyers out there who get this, I apologise now, but lawyers are specialists. In most jurisdictions, you're a corporate lawyer who happens to do other stuff, but fundamentally you're a corporate lawyer, or you're a litigation lawyer, might do other stuff, but you do litigation, etc., etc. There is a misunderstanding that the same applies to the BD people. Yeah. Some BD people are great at the comms side of things, at writing. Some people are great at sales, at coaching. They are specialists. Yeah. They are not generalists. Yeah. Treat them with a specialist attitude. So your job description cannot say they do all marketing and BD that's ever been known to man. The job description has to be particular to one area or another, with an appreciation that people are specialists in what they do.
So that takes to the question of what does good look like in terms of how many people are required and what the current best practice is globally. Let me start with you, Katie.
How many people are required depends, I think, on how many partners you've got. The only way it's judged at the moment really is on a ratio basis of how many BDers to partners. Sort of around 3-1 if you're a really big firm. And it changes the smaller that you get. But that is generally the benchmark that you're working from. But within that, as I said, there are countless specialist roles, so it's not just everybody doing everything. They've got to have their roles described and outlined, and people have to understand where they're coming from. And they have to be, they have to have KPIs to hit in exactly the same way that the lawyers do, but it's got to be done together. It's a team, it's not us and them.
I mean, I think sometimes people simplify and they think it's all about communication. And we've seen when we talk to law firms that they might have a very professional team of people and 100% they're focusing on communications and directories, which is the obsessive, element of law firms. So it might be that they're at a stage that they require branding, they require positioning, but you can never forget the importance of client relations. That is looking after current clients and new clients. And that also, as we've discussed before, requires some support, professional support, data intelligence, and ongoing feedback in order to improve and grow on these client relationships. They abandoned the importance of maybe focusing your resources on at least key clients that otherwise you will be losing.
So what would be, in very simple terms, I know you've been advising law firms on how to do this better, what are the key pillars required and also the people required, bearing in mind the state that your firm currently is and the fact you're trying to grow?
Well, I think as far as the key pillars are concerned, in my mind there are sort of three key ones. So there's the macro communication side. So it's all about reputation, it's about contacts with the media, it's social media, it's all of that big picture, firm to many communication. And then there is the business development side, which is the firm to one or firm to 10 type communication. So it's focused, specific on the top clients, with a different approach for the middle clients, with another different approach for the clients who are the sort of at the incubation stage. But then there's this bit in the middle, the intelligence that the firm has, because it keeps saying to lawyers, all you have to sell is the experience of the stuff that you've done before. That's all there is. So why aren't you collecting it? Why aren't you making it easy access for people? Because the complaint we get all the time from partners in firms is, I don't know, especially the big firms, I don't know what everybody else is doing. Which is a real problem, because how are you supposed to sell the firm if you don't know what the firm does? So there is a real underinvestment in collecting intelligence, and the really sensible place for that to happen, for it to be communicated from, is the business development team. And it's the security blanket of knowing what the firm does, and it's so often missed. And yes, there's an IT solution to that. There are many different systems out there that can help you with that. But what has got to change is the attitude to collecting that intelligence.
Yeah.
And it only comes out of the lawyers' brains, so the lawyers have got to do it.
Watch the full conversation in detail at Lexington Consultants website and follow us for more insights.